He saw it coming, not with silence, not with science, but with something deeper: clarity, vision, soul. He watched the patterns of people. He listened to the way nations rose and fell. He studied silence, and it spoke to him. And then he warned us, not with panic, not with fear, but with truth. Truth that we ignore. Truth that was buried beneath convenience, under progress, comfort, and speed. And now, we're living in the very chaos he tried to prepare us for. This message, this man's wisdom, wasn't meant for his time. It was meant for now. And if you listen, really listen, it might just save your life. You feel it, don't you? The low hum of unrest beneath everything. The feeling that something's off, but you can't name it. The way people look distracted even when they're not doing anything. The way anxiety is just considered normal now. We live in an age of disconnection, not from Wi-Fi, but from reality. We've never been more informed, but less wise. We've never had more opinions, but fewer convictions. We've never had more comfort, but less peace. And in the midst of this modern madness, we scroll past ancient wisdom as if it's irrelevant, not realizing it's the only thing that's real. Because long before algorithms ran our lives, long before attention became currency, there was a man who saw this future, and he warned us. His name was Marcus Aurelius, stoic, soldier, emperor, philosopher. He had the entire Roman Empire in his hands, and yet he feared what it could do to his soul. So he wrote, not to rule the world, but to master himself. And in one of these reflections, he said this: the object of life is not to be of the side of the majority, but to escape binding oneself in the ranks of the insane. Now let that sit with you, because if that doesn't sound like right now, what does? He watched how crowds change men, how trends dilute truth, how comfort makes cowards out of kings. And so he wrote, not for glory, but for men like you who would be born long after he died, trying to survive in a world that's lost its soul chasing its image. We didn't want to hear it then, and we still don't want to hear it now, because Marcus didn't tell us how to make money. He didn't give tips on how to win an argument. He didn't teach us how to be admired. He told us to go inward, to master our impulse, to become still in the midst of the storm. He said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. But that's not a message that sells well. Not in the world addicted to blame. Not in the world that measures worth in lights, speed, and noise. And yet, he wrote it down, because he knew a time would come when men were rich in tools, but poor in soul. When people would lose their identity in the crowd, when the idea of restraint would be seen as weakness, when silence would feel scarier than chaos. That time is now. We wear masks of confidence, but inside we're collapsing because we've confused attention for connection, opinion for truth, pleasure for purpose. Marcus warned us, when a man no longer governs himself, he becomes a slave to everything around him. He becomes addicted to validation, chained to emotion, manipulated by fear. And that's the world we're walking in today. People no longer think, they react. They don't observe, they obey. They don't build, they consume. And when you live like that long enough, you begin to forget what it means to be human. So the question is simple. Are you a king in chains or a slave who has found the key? Because make no mistake, it's not your bank account that defines you. It's your ability to master your own mind. The Stoics called it apatheia, not apathy, but control over destructive emotions. They trained their minds like warriors trained their bodies. They weren't afraid of death. They were afraid of living without meaning. And that's the test now. Can you be still when everything says move? Can you be disciplined when everything says indulge? Can you be honest when everything says pretend? That's the modern battlefield, and Marcus gave us the strategy centuries ago. If you want to win in this life, you won't find the path in trending topics. You won't find it in politics. You won't find it in convenience. You'll find it by returning to self, to stillness, to the truth that cannot be sold. You don't need more apps. You need more awareness. You don't need more followers. You need more discipline. The man inside of you, the one you keep burying beneath distractions, he's not dead. He's just been drowned out. But if you listen in the quiet, he's still whispering. He wants truth. He wants meaning. He wants to stand again. And Marcus Aurelius is there with him, not as a ghost of the past, but as a guide for the present. Let me give you what he left us: the blueprint, the code, the armor. Wake up early, reflect in silence. Write down your weaknesses, then challenge them. Be harder on yourself than on the world. Don't waste energy on what you can't control. Practice gratitude without needing more. And never, never trade peace for pleasure. These aren't platitudes. They're power. Simple, yes, but not easy. And that's why they work. You were not born to blend in. You were not born to follow. You were born to remember, to awaken, to rise, to reign, not over others, but over your own mind. The world is on fire, not just outside, but inside. And unless you return to stillness, you'll burn with it. But if you do, if you slow down, if you return to the fire of truth, you'll become what the world desperately needs: a man who cannot be moved. He warned us not to scare us, but to prepare us. He gave us the map. Now the journey is up to you, because truth doesn't change, but the ones who carry it, they'll shape history. So if something inside of you is stirring right now, don't ignore it. Lean in. You were meant to hear this. You were meant to remember, and you were meant to rise. If this message reached you, don't stop here. The next truth is waiting, and it may be the one that changes everything.